I am Frank, and today, of course, we're joined by Phil. How you doing, Phil?
Oh, man, as good as I can always be.
You just got to do FandomCon in San Jose, Silicon Valley. Got to meet some incredible people. So let's start off there. Talk about some of the people you got to chat with.
Man, the guests that we were able to talk to were amazing, man. On Friday, I was able to have a nice kind of QA with Jason Douglas, who played Lord Beerus in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Jacob Hopkins, who played Gumball and The Amazing World of Gumball. And then we had a whole Overwatch thing with Carolina Ravassa and Angeli Bamini. And they, just the energy they gave off was so amazing, so much fun. Saturday.
Those two are pros, man. That panel was like so good. It's crazy.
Just the way we kind of all played off of each other was great, just because they're, again, very funny, very good. They do their thing with their characters, and it was just a lot of fun. On Saturday, we teamed up with Joe Deckelmeyer on Saturday from Screen Rant and Movie Web, and we had a lot of fun with him. We kind of did this whole thing where we traded off on some of the interviews. He'd be on stage, I'd be doing crowd work, or vice versa. If I was on stage, he would do crowd work. And we had a lot of really good interviews. He did a Good Witch interview. He did a Mighty Morphin, which is his wheelhouse. He's all Power Rangers. So Walter Jones, David Yost.
His like profile pic is always Tommy, I think.
Yeah. So it was great to see the interaction that he has with the Rangers. After that, I got on stage and I got to interview some of the cast members from Arcane. Now, me being a massive old school League of Legends fan, this was big for me. I love the show.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I love the show. So I got to talk to Mia Sinclair Jeunesse. She was great. Katie Townsend kind of stole the show, and Reed Shannon has such infectious energy that
exactly. When I was trying to like describe Reed, I was just like, he's just cool, and I want to be his friend. Like, that's just the energy he gives off, you know?
100%. He was so much fun to talk to, and we did a little side interview with him.
By the way, if you guys are not remembering the names, that's Ekko from Arcane.
Right. And then Mia Sinclair Jeunesse plays Jinx, so she plays like kind of like the character that everybody's fallen in love with.
Oh yeah.
And Katie Townsend, she played one of the newer characters from season 2, but again, she's just so fun to talk to. They were really great. At 2:15. Joe got on stage and talked with Dave Dismalchin, who is massively blowing up right now. I've been following Dave Dismalchin for so long, but now that he is M. Bison, he had this conversation with him about just kind of his whole career, his comic books, because he's a comic book writer too. Knowing that David Dismalchin is a massive nerd, but he got him to kind of like, talk a little bit about M. Bison, which, we were really excited about. At 3:00, I talked to another one of my heroes, Debbie Derryberry, Jimmy Neutron himself, or herself, himself.
She slips in and out of those voices like nothing.
She would just drop voices in the middle of everything. She did this whole thing where she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the I Talk to My Animals voice," which we posted on our page, and it was so much fun just to talk to her about that. 3:45, Joe got to talk with two voices who have played Joe Valentine and
is it Chris Redfield?
Redfield, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Claire Redfield. I had to remember the name.
Claire Redfield, okay. We have Chris Redfield coming up on Geek Freaks, guys, by the way, on the side note.
Yeah. Stephanie Panicello and Nicole Tompkins. And again, that was a really fun conversation. We covered a lot of Resident Evil, had a lot of good fan interaction with that. Had a conversation with Eliza Taylor from the 100. 5:15, I got back on stage and I was able to talk with Daniel Marin, Eric Bra, Alpha Takahashi, Elia Mountjoy, and Jordan Reynolds, and that was such a fun conversation. It was just we were nerding out on Marvel and just nerding in general, and just talking about how fun it was to play the game and be in the game, and they're doing their ults on stage, and it was just so much fun. You know what I mean?
I actually was just talking to Elia today, telling him like I told him thank you. Thank you so much for like being a part of the community that loves you, because I think that's something that's so unique about the Marvel Rivals community and the people that are in it. Like, it's first off just an all-star cast, but they are players and they love doing these conventions. They love meeting the fans in a way that you sometimes don't get from other things. So it's just really, really cool to see that.
Right, right. And I mean, we saw them Saturday night too. They went out to this bar in San Jose called Cash, and we saw
Mhm.
them on their way there, and that was a lot of fun just to kind of see them in their element before, outside of the con and everything like that. And it was just
Yeah, I'm sure
a lot
you
of
nailed
fun.
that convo too, because I'm sure you did a great job with them. I bet that's a good one.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun. They gave me a lot of good feedback. Everybody was saying we had a good time. So the conversations we had were fun there. At one point, we ended up, like, not purposefully, but we ended up doing my trivia game that we normally do at
Yeah.
cons. And it was, again, it was accidental because Joe was talking about, like, man, I did this quiz. I was like, I do trivia at a lot of cons. And he goes, you do trivia? Let's try and play. Hops down into the audience, and we just start doing trivia and giving away. We ended up giving away a bunch of shirts, but somebody got one of my hard questions. And I was like, I can't
Mm.
just give you a shirt for answering one of the hardest questions I have. So I ended up taking her to one of the booths and buying her a bust of Gandalf that she really wanted.
That's dope.
Yeah, just because I was
Cool.
like, it's deserving. You answered one of my hard questions, and I give away good prizes when you answered my hard question. So I ended
Yeah,
up going and doing that for her, and she was really appreciative of it.
that's cool. And I think, a shout out to Joe, of course. If you go to a convention, you've probably seen Joe here and there. He's working with Screen Rant and Movie Web, I think it was. But yeah, he's cool. It's good that you got to talk with him.
Yeah, I mean, we built a really good relationship. I've been kind of like more like social media friends with Joe for a long time. I've
Right.
messaged him back and forth, and we've seen each other at conventions. This is our first time actually working together,
Hmm.
and we had so much fun just kind of brainstorming and coming up with different types of interviews. Because originally he was supposed to do all of the interviews, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Hey man, if you want to do one of these," and he was just like, "You're pretty good at this, man. So let's just bounce off of each other, and
Yeah.
we'll switch off on a bunch of these interviews." So we ended up just teaming up together for the entire show, and it just it made the entertainment value that much better.
Meanwhile, James is holding down the fort, right? He's got your guys' booth going on. How'd the booth go?
So funny enough, James was actually at the booth. He was our cameraman for the majority of the
Oh,
show.
that's right. So who was at the booth? Oh, yeah, you were other more people. Yeah.
So we had the
Yeah.
minions at the booth.
There you go. Yeah.
Tyler was hanging out at the booth for the most part.
That's cool. That's cool. That's awesome. I'm so glad, the thing with the layout of this convention is like at one end was all the interviews. So probably hard to visit the rest of the con. And, I hate to bring a negative Nancy, but we're seeing a lot of videos from other people who are at the con
Yeah.
talking about there wasn't a lot of people there, there wasn't a lot to do. Were you kind of picking up that vibe? It was a bit of a shallow con.
I, I did pick up that there wasn't a lot of foot traffic, and I attributed a lot of that to it was raining, like really bad. And that's always something that worries me. Any con we go to, I always worry about turnout when it rains. I've been
Yeah.
to many cons where they're known to be these massive cons, and they suffer from foot traffic issues when it rains the way that it was raining. But from some of the videos that I've been seeing and hearing, it troubles me to hear like a lot of the other things that may or may not have been going on. We were pretty insulated because I was on stage the
Yes.
majority of the day. So I wasn't able to kind of experience the show the same way that a lot of the con goers, a lot of the vendors, different things that were out there. I mean, there were sections of the show that were like constantly busy, like there was an arcade there and things like that. But I can't really speak for a lot of the experiences that a lot of people had over the course of the show,
Hmm.
mainly because my experience was different, being that we were doing programming on the stage all day.
You guys were busy where you were at. Yeah, what I'm hearing from like vendors and stuff like that is they had to close down a little bit early because
Yeah.
they just weren't making their cut and it was starting to cost them too much just to even be there. So while there were definitely parts that were busy, there were parts that were not. And hey, like where you were at, it was popping. That's just kind of how some cons are. This is the second time they've tried this kind of convention in Silicon Valley, and I think that more fine tuning needs to be done. I
Mhm.
know one of the complaints is it was presumed to be held in the convention center, and it was not. It was in the big tent next door. Do you think the tent was big enough for that, or was it not the right venue for it?
The tent was fairly big. There were a lot of people that were in there. The thing that I was seeing, that I've been seeing, is some people were saying like there's supposed to be 10,000 people there. The tent can only hold 5,000. I was like, it feels really big. I feel like you
Hmm.
could have had a lot of people in that tent. It was fairly well put together. The one thing I will kind of critique, if anything, is the bathroom situation. There was one bathroom,
Yes.
and you had to go outside and then walk all the way back to the front of the building in order to get back in. And I feel like there's something, there has to be something better than that.
Right, right, right. I think there's a lot of people who feel burned about this convention, and I can't say that they're wrong because I don't know their experience.
Right.
I just know as somebody who was absorbing everything that you were doing, right? I was seeing all the videos and stuff like that you guys were doing, and I was like, oh man, I wish I were able to meet these people. But I think that's one of the things that we're in a world where there are so many conventions, right? That are amazing. So you get to go to the cream of the crops, and if something doesn't make it, it doesn't make it. What are some of the improvements you were hoping to see for next year's version of this?
I mean, a lot of the improvements, a lot of it needs to be like signage and promotion needs to be massive. I mean, that's for any con, any con that exists. There needs to be good promotion. There needs to be good signage. You need to know that the event is happening there at that day on that date and everything like that. Just again, I can't speak for the experience that a lot of the vendors had, that a lot of the guests had, or anything like that, because I'm essentially kept in the dark for all those kind of things. My job is to provide a good experience during programming for the guests that are there, and I believe that I provided that. I was able to help provide that. Can't say I did it alone. Joe provided that. You know, it was between the two of us. But you know, as far as the improvements, you know, for next year, would need to be anything that takes care of the guests, anything that takes care of the vendors. I mean, the vendors are number one. The vendors are going to be the ones that make or break you. You got to build from the roots up. Right. They're going to be the ones that make or break you. And if you are not keeping the vendors happy, then, I mean, you have to pivot and make sure that that's the number one thing you're doing. Aside from the guests, obviously you don't want to piss off the guests because you're never going to get them again.
Right. That's one thing, you know, as an outside observer to this, you know, Phil, I saw how much that you were trying to keep things entertaining. And I like how you said, like, that's my job. This is a job to be a podcaster. And so your job is to build a fun environment for everybody involved. That includes on social media around it. That includes at the convention itself, post and pre. So your job is to try to make it more fun. And I think you did a very good job at that. So there's nothing more that you could do. And hey, you'll be at the next one somewhere for sure. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, again, and that makes me feel good. The feedback that I got makes me feel good because, again, we heard a lot of what the guests were feeling, but the guests, what they conveyed to me was that we were good, that everything we did was good, that we should be doing more shows. Obviously, Joe does a lot. So, I mean, like, you know, they a lot of people
dude's not stop. Yeah. How he actually gets any work done at Screen Rant, I don't know, because he's always on the road, man.
I have insight to that, and I can just tell you he's just working nonstop. So, I mean, you know, it makes sense. Joe puts in a lot of work, and you know, him giving me advice and giving me insight and everything like that, you know, to help improve everything we do. It's, you know, it's there is no amount of thanks that I can give him, and even with the praise that he gave me as well. So, you know, and again, we were really big on making sure we checked in with the guests and that, hey, how are you guys feeling? How's everything going? You know, hey, if you don't want to jump on stage, and they're like, no, man, every conversation you guys have sounds fun. I want to be a part of that. So that makes me feel good when the guests are like, no, I want to have that conversation because you guys are fun.
Yeah. So FandomCon, you know, that's one convention down, many more to come. Right. What's the next con? Is it CCS for you, or is it something else?
I think the next
Fire
show
is like June.
Right. I think the next show for us, let me actually pull up my calendar here. The next show, I believe, calendar. For us, I know, right? And that's how many shows we actually are doing. The next big event for us looks like, it is CCS. So CCS. May 9th, Capital Creative Showcase is going to be our next big show.
At that con, it's a smaller con, but it is packed with people that are playing video games the entire day and meeting each other and bullshitting, and just talking to a TCG board game developer that's going to be having like a table for you to play the board games there and stuff. And then we're going to have them on stage and interview them. And you'll be on stage interviewing people. I'll be on stage interviewing people. We'll get James doing it too. I've got cameraman already set up for us, so we don't have to worry about having somebody hold the camera. Nice. I'm buying a tripod for James, just so he knows if he hears this. He tried to be still as much as he could, but struggled.
No bouncing. I noticed he was doing the bouncing. It's like, you're trying to get this dynamic picture, man, but that doesn't work for what we're doing. you gotta
You gotta
you
get
gotta
that
keep the
tripod,
camera
bro.
still. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's CCS, and then there's I think there's one like the week after that too. So
The week
it's
after
gonna
that is
be a
Gem
busy
State for
time.
us. So yeah,
Gem
Gem State
State. Oh
Comic Con.
God, that's gonna be a fun one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gem State Comic Con is our next big show, which we're super excited for. And
Hell yeah.
again, you know, that's our next massive, you know, our big show. That's probably one of the biggest shows that goes to Boise, Idaho. So we'll be out in Boise, Idaho, 100%. If you're in the area, make your way there, or if you can get out to Boise, Idaho, make your way there. It's going to be a blast of a time, guys.
Gem State does a great job. It's always
Yeah.
a good show. So make sure you guys check that out, and make sure you're following Distance Nerding on everything that they're doing. I mean, it's an active show. It's fun. It's part of the party. You might as well be joining. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next Distance Nerding. Bye.